Hi everyone, welcome to a new devlog. In this episode, we will see how the enemy can now throw his shield as a range attack, the loot system, and the new death animations. So let's get started. This week I was watching a streamer playing the new patch of The Witcher 3, and I was very impressed by his comment when he was trying to choose the most appropriate difficulty level. He didn't want enemies with more life, but enemies with more complexity in combat, more diversity of attacks, and special attacks. What led me thinking, and I decided to introduce more variety of attacks even for common enemies. Now the enemies have an array of conventional and special attacks, making their combat behavior more random. Still, they also have a range attack for when they are out of range of the melee attacks. For the paladin enemy, this attack is the shield throw. If we look at the behavior tree, it works like this. First, we look to see if the player is within the melee attack radius. If he is, the enemy attacks. If not, I'll look if he is within the range attack radius. If he is, then there is a chance rate of making the attack. This chance depends on the enemy type. If it's a success, the enemy performs the range attack. If not, he starts the chase. The success of the range attack is random. This breaks the monotony of combat and makes it more unexpected. All of this is managed by any montages and any notifiers. We have a notifier when throwing the shield. The notifier calls an event that hides the shield mesh in the enemy's hand and spawns a projectile with the same shield mesh, so visually the player doesn't notice the change. The projectile is launched using physics in the player's direction. When the throwing animation ends, the recovery animation starts, and another notifier calls an event to recover the shield. In this event, I play an interpolation to animate the shield back to the enemy. And when it reaches the hand, I destroy the projectile actor. The original shield mesh becomes visible. Again, a visual trick that goes unnoticed by the player. On the other hand, I add animations for the death of enemies. When an enemy died, it would simply enter in Ragdoll. Now we have an array of different death animations. When the enemy dies, I choose a random animation, and when the montage blends out, I transition to Ragdoll. This gives more diversity to the enemy deaths. In parallel to the deaths, I have developed the loot system. In my game, all enemies will have loot. When they die, they will get rid of the weapons they carry equipped, plus potions or some other unique items that will be randomly spawned. The game has a mini economy. We can buy food, accessories and weapons, but the only way to get money is through collecting accessories and selling them. Or some quests also have monetary rewards. So the loot has a vital function not only because we can find some unique items, but for the game's economy. When the enemy dies, I hide the message of his weapons and spawn the interactable items that the player can pick up. Very similar to how we throw the shield as I explained before. All items now have physics, so they feel more natural and integrated into the world. To avoid collision problems, items only interact physically with the static models, such as the ground, trees, and other models of the environment. Physics doesn't interact with the player or other NPCs. This improves performance and avoids unwanted interactions. Finally, I added a mini HUD to the enemies representing their health and resistance. This mini HUD is very useful because it gives us instant feedback during combat, but also helps me debug to see if the things I coded work correctly or not. To avoid performance problems, the enemy's HUD is only visible if we enter their combat radius. I deactivate it when they die, so it's only active on enemies we fight, hardly more than 4 or 5 at a time. And this was all the progress of this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like this content, and see you soon!